fun fact about this video, this is my second time filming it. Please make sure that you check all of your footage before you dump it onto your hard drive. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking elevator speeches. What is an elevator speech? Well, when someone asks you, tell me about yourself in a job interview, or if you're at a networking event and someone wants to know a little bit more about you, this is the speech that you give them to excite them about possibly working with you in the future. The core elements of an elevator speech answer the questions who, what, when, where, how, and why. And some of those there are two answers for. The first and most important question is who you are, what you do, how you do it, and what makes you unique. And generally, an elevator speech is something that you do practice because part of the delivery of this elevator speech is that you are exuding a level of confidence, and confidence is a huge part of why people want to work with you. It's also an opportunity to start a conversation, not just 30 seconds of you straight talking to someone else as their face starts slacking and their eyes glaze over. You want to make sure you keep them engaged in what you're saying. The second part of the question of who is who you're telling this elevator speech to. Really, it's anyone who would have an opportunity to share with you, or an opportunity for you in the future, or even someone that you may want to bring on your team in the future. You still want to be able to share with them who you are and what you do, and then invite them to do the same. Now, for the what question, we've already sort of answered that. What is an elevator speech? It is really just essentially your verbal resume, but you really want to make it sound not so clinical. You're not going to recite the bullet points that are on your resume. You're not going to go through and say your job title and where you work and how long you've worked there. You really want to turn your whole work experience into a narrative form that can get people excited about the type of work that you do. For instance, if you are a filmmaker, an up-and-coming filmmaker, if you have some work in festivals, or if you have work that's visible to the general public, you'll want to highlight that. If you're a video editor and you recently just helped out, hey, a YouTuber, or if you've done a recent spot for a local business, you can highlight that and say, hey, I'm a video editor and I work typically with local businesses to help with their marketing campaigns, and I recently actually just did this little 30-second spot for a restaurant near my house. You want to brag a little bit, but not seem arrogant. So there is a fine line there, but you do want to highlight work that you are currently doing and even work that you aspire to do. Usually that aspirational aspect comes when you are just starting in your career. For instance, if you're a student at a film school, or if you're a teenager that's still trying to figure out what you want to do, you can speak to that as a future goal. I'm currently a student at XYZ High School or XYZ University, and I'm studying XYZ subject, and I hope to one day maybe move into this area of filmmaking, or this area of marketing, or this industry because it really interests me. So I'm taking these ABC XYZ steps to get there. That's absolutely part of an elevator speech. And this now rolls into the how. How do you stand out? Standing out means, again, pitching your upcoming projects, your recent successes, and doing it with an air of confidence that makes you feel and come across as very proud of the work that you did. Again, that ties back into the confidence. So the more you practice this elevator speech, the more that energy will be passed on to the person who is interested in working with you. Why do you need an elevator speech? Well, it shows a level of certainty and preparedness that you're ready to get out into the world and make new connections, and that you're always seeking new opportunities and you're ready to talk about them with someone as soon as they're ready to ask you that question of, tell me about yourself. So when and where would you need an elevator speech? Well, the when is pretty simple. You always need it. You should start working on it now, and you should constantly be working on it. It should be as easy for you to present your elevator speech as it is to tell someone your name, age, and email address. Again, this shows that level of preparedness that you're always seeking new opportunities and that you're ready to discuss them at a moment's notice. And where would you actually apply this elevator speech? Again, it can happen anywhere. Elevator speech actually comes from being kind of trapped in an elevator with someone that you really want to work with, i.e., let's say you are an aspiring filmmaker, you walk into an elevator and Steven Spielberg is there. Well, now you're ready to potentially, in that 15 seconds that you're in the elevator, pitch to him who you are, what you do, and what kind of opportunities you're seeking, and maybe something will come of it. But realistically, where would you need to utilize this elevator speech? Networking events, peer introductions, colleague introductions. If you take yourself out on a date and you sit at the bar and get a drink and order dinner, and the person next to you is potentially the CEO of a really big company that you want to work for, you want to be prepared for that. Especially if you're a student, oftentimes your high school campus or your college campus will have job fairs and events along those lines that can introduce you to potential employees. And this is where you want to hone in that speech, that presentation of yourself, so that you can go through and meet people and not have to worry about losing your train of thought, and exuding a level of confidence that shows them that you are prepared to discuss opportunities right now, and this is what you're doing, and this is where you want to be, and this is how you want to achieve it. Now, with all that said, how do you write it? How do you start it out? Well, again, you can start with the who, what, when, where, and why of your story. Write that down on paper, see how it feels, make adjustments to each section, and then write it out as a paragraph. It doesn't need to be exact every time you do it, and it should evolve every time that you say it out loud to someone, but that level of practice will start to show the more that you meet people in your career journey. So I guess you want me to try to give you my little elevator pitch. Okay, well, here's an example of what it is. Again, I've written this down over the last few years, and I've practiced it and pitched it to hundreds of people, so mine is always evolving, but here's a little taste. Let's say I'm at a networking event and I'm mingling around with peers and colleagues, and we're laughing and talking about things in general. Someone turns to me and says, "So Kim, what do you do?" I'll say, well, I've been working in the TV and event industry over the last 10 years, so I've had some pretty cool experiences. And I've worked in reality television, doing everything from production assisting to travel assisting. And then I switched over to events and I got hooked. I started working in scenic production, which helped me actually build the environments for my events. And then I moved into producing events and really being able to tell the story from the start to finish, which incorporates all my knowledge now of the different levels of production and environment creation. So really, I love being able to tell someone's story from start to finish, incorporating their messaging, their branding, their personal touches, and developing an experience so that anyone who is in the room experiencing it with our client and the attendees can leave the room with a feeling that they've experienced a whole story from start to finish, and can take something away from that experience into what they do in their life. Now that's a little bit extra, but that's kind of how I talk to people now. Of course, you don't have to be so elaborate and specific about experiences, but you'll start to develop that comfort with what you do over time. If you are just starting out, keep it very simple. Who are you? Are you a student? Are you a recent graduate? Are you exploring new opportunities? What do you do? And what did you study in school? Or what are you studying? Or what are your interests in school? Are you part of any extracurricular clubs? What do you want to do for the future? What are your goals and ambitions? What fascinates you? What draws you in and you can't escape? That level of passion of discussing your goals, your dreams, your hobbies, that will start to help you develop your career and what career path you want to take. And other people will start noticing that as well. And maybe, oh maybe they have something that's right up your alley that they're willing to offer you. Well, I hope that helped, and I'll have more information in the description box below. So do all the things, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you next time for some more career stuff. Bye! No. Someone wants to know a little bit of more. No, got an email. Have more information information in the. Ugh, I can't say this.